Rachel. No me deja again.
Good evening. Thank you for being here. It is 5:30. Called the meeting to order. We do have a quorum of the board. If everybody would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and our Texas pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is our district mission and vision. Ms. Bosques.
Yes, ma'am. Our mission statement: empowering our learning community to live their purpose by honoring values and beliefs for a holistic post-secondary journey. Our vision statement: believe we can succeed, and with pride we will achieve.
Thank you. Our next item is our superintendent's report. Ms. Vega Barrio.
President Bullard, Board of Trustees, and Tornillo Learning Community, thank you so much for being here tonight. I always say I love to have an audience, especially for these board meetings, especially for all of the recognitions. We have just completed our first 9 weeks of school. That went by really fast. And we know that the second 9 weeks is going to go by even faster. So be on the lookout for my newsletter that will be coming out in a couple of weeks before our kids come back. So that you can keep track of the successes that we've had this first 9 weeks, which there have been a lot, especially at the high school with so many of our kids completing a lot of their coursework as they are on their way to graduation. And then, of course, we are coming towards the end of the fall sports that we're also going to be recognizing next month at our board meeting, from football, cross country, tennis. And so we're really excited about that, and volleyball. So we still have a handful of games that are going to be played here at the district level. So please come out and support our Tornillo Coyotes. Aside from that, attendance continues to be one of those areas that, although we should be celebrating the fact that Tornillo is one of the highest when it comes down to student attendance, we're still shy away about 2 percentage points from reaching that 97%. That the second 9 weeks, we get to see more of the same students who have over the years been absent to start that pattern again. So we're going to continue to reach out to parents. This is a partnership. So we ask that you please help us help your child do well in school, because at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones who are going to be reaping the rewards of attending school every single day. We do have another couple of days of intercession for all of our students. Please make sure that our students are attending. We have a lot going on, not just academically, but also enrichment for all of our students, from students taking field trips to a university this Friday, to GT students working on projects and taking a field trip to a bakery, I believe tomorrow or Thursday. And so there's a lot of fun happening, and the learning continues. So please make sure that we continue to work in that manner. A lot of information will be coming out in that newsletter, as we do have a line item today in our board regarding a vitre that we are going to be presenting out to the community in hopes that there's individuals who have not registered to vote to come out, and we can help you get registered for that. because in a matter of time, we'll have elections coming up in November, early November, November the 4th will be the day of election. So a lot of great information. And once again, I couldn't thank you enough for the great work that you all are doing at home, helping us out, helping your kids. So thank you.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is our recognitions. So our first is the Do Your Best staff recognitions. If the board would move to the front, please.
Every month this year, we are going to be recognizing individuals, whether it be students, the adults, staff, parents, who are going above and beyond and truly doing their best for not just their job, but the work that we are set to do for our kids. And so, we continue to receive data from the state. And it brings me so much pleasure to be able to be one of the districts, the top districts in the region when it comes down to academic star performance and EOC. This is not something that is done overnight, but rather it is a collective effort by a lot of people. It's not just the students, it's not just the teachers, it's not just the parents, it's a collective piece of work that we work. Just so you all know where we're at approximately, we ended up with an overall B, which is an 82%. And just so you'll know where we're at, we are right at top was Isleta, and we were just by 2 percentage points across from the rest. Isleta, Socorro, Clint, and then it was us. So there's 12 districts in the region, and we should be very, very proud that Tornillo, being one of the smallest districts in the region, we are competing with big districts. We are offering the services that big districts provide our kids. So parents, thank you. Thank you so much for allowing us to serve your kids. Well, tonight we are going to be recognizing these individuals who, what I call them, my milusos, right? Because they literally wear a lot of hats at the campus level and at the district level. You see them running up and down. You sometimes might ask yourselves, what in the world do they do where they're always walking around with papers in their hands? The truth of the matter is that teachers need support too. Just like students need support, teachers need support too. And so I have seen these individuals work their hearts out. When teachers had to be moved or were not in school, they had a substitute. They went in and took over because they knew how important the work is. So today I would like to recognize the instructional specialist at the campuses. This is a very, very difficult job because they're not teachers and they're not administrators. They're what I call in the gray area. And so tonight, if you all can help me recognize Miss Karina Schulte. Miss Alma Rives. Mr. Ray Bonilla. Miss Loretta Aguilar, and some of them are out of the district. Maria Espinosa. Miss Claudia Soto. Miss Alicia Alvarado. Miss Sandra Aguirre. And Miss Marisela Ramos.
Our next item on the agenda is our Do Your Best student recognitions.
Yes, this one is very special for me. You know, a lot of our kids, when I talk to our students, they say, you know, only the back kids or only these kids get recognized or they only get hot Cheetos for this, you know? What about us? What about us? But, you know, I really want to thank you, boys and girls. Your work every single day, because it's about every single day and every single class that matters, that you bring your very best to class, is a reflection not just of yourself, but that of the home that you live in. Thank you, parents. Thank you so much. If you are here because your kid is being recognized today, I thank you. Because of you, you are making our jobs easier. You are allowing us to elevate and push your kids even further up than where they're at. And so today I want to recognize for the 24-25 school year, this is the whole year, how these kids just did amazing, not only academically, but also in attendance. So I'm gonna begin with perfect attendance. This is really, really hard, okay? This is really, really hard because these students come to school 167 days, 8 hours a day, right? Where other school districts might have 7 hours and a half, we have 167 days, not 180, but our days are longer. We have the same minutes, but it's still hard. It's really hard to make that commitment. So thank you, parents, for saying no every time they say, my stomach hurts in the morning. And you say they're going to go to school. So the very first one is Mr. Dylan Lopez. Perfect attendance. Eileen Alvarez. Oh, hear me, Dylan. Isabella Alvarez. Maximiliano Fernandez. Ashley Garcia Segovia. Leonardo Granillo. Leonel Granillo. All in the family. Kian Lopez. Gael Marín. Liani Marín. Ethan Matamoros. Yatzil Méndez. Ailina Ornelas Estrada. And last but not least, Miss Bethany Romero. Bethany. Actually, I have two more. Jimena Armendariz. Oh, this is, okay, I'm going to start off with these kids not only have perfect attendance and honor roll. Well, let me take a picture with them first. And next, these two students not only have perfect attendance, but A honor roll. Our very first one is Jimena Armendariz. And Natalia Márquez Tarango. Yay, take a picture. Ready? And they stay right there, mija, okay? Thank you, guys. Can we have the parents of these young students to please stand up? Thank you, parents. Yes. Yes. All right, the next set of students received A honor roll all year long. Oh my goodness, this is hard. I'm in school right now, and oh my Lord, it's really hard to stay on top of your grades. So our very first one is Heriberto Franco. Sofía Guzmán. Miss Emily Delgado. Miss Alexa Valdez Luna. Mr. Sebastián Moreno Peña. Miss Kylie Garcia. Miss Alessandra Santillana. Mr. Max Delgado. Miss Eunice Mendez. Miss Madeli Moreno. And last but not least, Miss Ivana Rivas.
Gracias, padres, por su apoyo, por todo, porque siempre decimos, la educación empieza en el hogar y ustedes son el monumento para estos hijos suban y sean un día nuestros mejores de todo lo que ellos se le proponen. Gracias.
Wait, maybe not. Sorry. I'm told we have another. We do. I am so sorry. We have Human Resource Appreciation. So sorry. We have students who are presenting for us.
State of the Texas Office of the Governor. Texas is proud of our commitment to a quality education system that places students firmly on the path to a lifetime of excellence and achievement. An integral part of the success of our schools are the human resources, professionals who play a critical role in our education system. Vital throughout the industry's human resources workers are particularly important in education. These hardworking men and women are skilled and efficient in talent acquisition and retention. By recognizing potential teachers, human resources professionals around our students with highly capable educators who will help develop the next generation into the leaders of tomorrow.
At this time, I encourage all Texans to recognize the importance of the human resources in education. I commend the professionals continue committed to meeting the needs of students and teachers alike, as these professionals pave the way for a better, brighter future for the next leaders of our great state. Therefore, I, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas, do hereby proclaim October 8, 2025 to be Education Human Resources Day in Texas and urge all day Texans to observe the occasion with appropriate ceremonies and activities. In testimony whereof I have hereinto affixed my signature this 5th day of September 2025. Government of Texas, Greg Abbott.
Lisbeth Carroll, who is our director, our HR director, amongst other things. But since it's the month of recognition, then we recognize you for this today.
Back row.
And we have Sebastian Moreno, who made it in. Mom, thank you so much for bringing him. And he is being recognized, wow, for A honor roll all year long. Come here, mijo.
Thank you, students, for all your hard work, your attendance, your grades. Please also thank your parents because they work very hard for you to get that education. So thank you, everyone. Next item on our agenda is our open forum. I do have a name who signed up for open forum, Laura Luna, to speak. Yes, no?
No va a hablar, nomás se apuntó.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is our Lone Star governance, our student outcome monitoring, our Tornillo High School graduate, Mr. Olvera. We should stay up front for
Yes,
this,
yes.
guys. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees, President Bullard, and Superintendent Rosie Vega Barrio. It gives us great honor this afternoon to see Alan Gutierrez finish his diploma and complete all the requirements for this diploma here in Tornillo ISD and at the high school. This young man worked hard, extensively. He did whatever it took to complete all his assignments and requirements. This guy just never gives up, and we're very, very proud of seeing Alan earn his diploma tonight with his family. So with us tonight, we have Mr. Gutierrez here. So congratulations on receiving and earning your diploma at Tornillo High School.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us and letting us be a part of this. We really appreciate getting to do that. So thank you to your family and to yourself. Next item on the agenda is our BOI reading and math data for the pre-K through third grade. Ms. Lopez.
Good evening, Board President Bullard and Superintendent Ms. Vega Barrio. I'm here presenting our beginning of the year data. Just a quick reminder, we do use M-Class as the beginning, middle, and end year reading screener for all of our students, kinder through third grade. So just that yellow column, starting off that first slide, it does have our kinder data. That BOY data, the top is the monolingual students. And then the blue area, those are our students who are in dual language classrooms. They are tested in both English and Spanish. The blue represents just the Spanish, the native results. And then the purple represents those dual language students and how they are performing in the English language. Okay, so this, like I said, the top portion of this slide represents the reading, and then the bottom represents the math. So here we notice for the beginning of the year for our kinder, we have only 17% of our students in kinder who are testing at tier 1. I do want to point out that almost 50% of our current kinder students are new to schooling. This is the first year that they've been enrolled at our district. That's a high number as compared to other years. If we go on to the next slide, it just shows a graphic in red, yellow, green, and blue of our students and what they're tiering. The red represents the tier 3, and so tier 3 represents that our students are requiring a lot of extensive assistance when it comes to reading. The yellow is tier 2, they need some assistance, and the green represents the tier 1 at grade level performance, where the blue is representing the above grade level. So at the top is the Spanish dual language classroom, just the Spanish, and the bottom is a mix of both our monolingual and our bilingual students. If we go to the next slide, this is our first grade data. We see our tier 1 scoring at the beginning of the year a lot more higher. For our monolingual students, we have 38% of our students already scoring in the Tier 1, and for our native Spanish speakers, 54% of them are scoring at the Tier 1. One of the areas of concern for first grade that we've already identified is the level of Tier 3. Our kids, the number of students who are requiring extensive help when it comes to the reading. At the bottom, it shows the scoring for Tier 1 when it comes to our students in the math area. If we go on to the next slide, it's the same representation. Our Tier 3, that's the red, the number of students who are requiring extensive help. Yellow is the Tier 2, some help. Green and blue is at grade level or above grade level. The next slide is our second grade students. We can see that for our monolingual students, there's already 73% of the students who are coming in scoring at Tier 1 at grade level performance. For our native speakers for Spanish, 52% of them are scoring at Tier 1, and the bottom is our math screener. Our second graders as a whole, they do take IXL, it's in English, whether that's the only language option that is provided, and so 43% of the students are scoring at Tier 1. The next graphic, just like the ones before, shows the number of students who are Tier 1 in green and in blue. The yellow is the Tier 2, and the red, which is the Tier 3, requiring extensive help. In a campus where our numbers are so small, again, every number is very critical, every student and their performance is very critical to our overall percentage. If we go on to the next slide, this is our students who are in third grade. Third grade students, I was a third grade teacher, so I know it's okay for me to say this. They're our middle child. They have M-class screening reading requirements by the state at the beginning of the year, and then they also, at the end of the year, they also use STAR assessment. That's the overall performance indicator for third grade students and teachers. So this is an area that we've identified for our monolingual, Tier 1, 50% of our students are scoring Tier 1, and for our native speakers, 75% are scoring at Tier 1. The Tier 3 students, we know exactly which of those students are identifying as needing intensive skills, and there's already interventions in place for those students. Okay. And just like the other ones, this is just a visual graphic of the students for our Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 students. Did you all have any questions here so far? Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay. This next slide shows our pre-K, kinder reading and math data. We do use CLI. That is the state mandated assessment for pre-Ks. So they are tested because we do offer, our section is dual language in English and Spanish. The top, the blue portion, is how the students are scoring in the Spanish language. At the bottom is the same type of test in English given to all our students. So if we look at our Spanish, let's start there. Only 8% of our students are coming in at grade level. And so we only have one of our students. Right now we have a class size of 12. That is significantly lower than what we've seen in other years. We only have one student, like I mentioned, at Tier 1, where at Tier 3, needing extensive support, 92%, 11 of those 12 kids are coming in requiring a lot of assistance. This lectura part translates into language skills, oral language development, speaking, reading, foundational skills of print, holding up a book, the pages to turn. Those are some of the skills that are assessed there. If we look at the math, the students are coming in a lot stronger in with the math skills. All of the students in the pre-K classroom are already being identified as they are on target. They're on grade level for pre-K. And the bottom shows how they're performing within the English language. And so again, this also in the English, they're a lot stronger coming in when it comes to the math skills. So some areas of strength that we've identified as teachers and as a team, we're curriculum leaders as well, are our first grade areas of strength, first grade bilingual reading. Half of them are already coming in as Tier 1 at grade level. Our first grade math, 75% are scoring at Tier 1 at this time. And our pre-K students are coming in with very strong skills in the math area. Our second grade monolingual students also, they're above or slightly above the 70% for Tier 1. The areas of concern, it's the kinder students, the kinder coming in, where a large percentage, more than 60%, are coming in being identified as needing intensive intervention when it comes to their reading skills. Are bilingual usually by this time. It's around between 60 and 70% for Tier 1, our second grade math. And there's a big difference between our first grade and our second grade math. And our pre-K lectura, that 92% of our students are coming in at Tier 3. Some plans for acceleration interventions that we have in place. We have small group intervention for our Tier 3 students. We do use the station rotation model for math and reading, and that's where our teachers provide guided practice, small group intervention, and our students who can benefit from acceleration and extra practice also get it at this time. It is in our master schedule, a station rotation for math and reading. We have our continuing the lesson internalization, the deep dive for our reading and our math. We continue to be an HQIM campus for reading and for math, kinder through 8th grade. We have monthly progress monitoring for students' growth in reading and math. And then for intersession, we do have math, language, and language development in English that we are offering. One of the things that I do want to note, this year, we have been struggling when it comes to our attendance regarding our intersession and tutoring opportunities that we've offered. We do phone calls, we've done home visits, letting our parents, making them aware that it's critical that students come in, but we have been struggling this year with that. Are there any questions that you all might have?
No questions?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is community engagement on the student is our time use tracker. It's in smaller print.
Yes.
And our time use tracker from last meeting on August 27th. We started the meeting at 5:30, ended at 6:13. Meeting was 43 minutes, with 12% of that spent on student outcome. So now our next item is community engagement on student outcome goals. If anybody would like to speak on our outcome goals. Okay, so next is our public hearing on the efficiency audit results. Ms. Setasetis with Whitley Penn CPA.
Good evening, Board President, members of the board. As required, in order to start the voucher process, we ordered an efficiency audit back in June, I believe. And within the 3 months after August 31, the efficiency audit was done. And now we're here to present it before the November 4th election. So she's going to present the details and the comparisons amongst the peer districts and how we're standing.
Thank you.
Selena Sariceres.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. Good evening. Thank you for having me here, President Bullard, members of the board, and Mrs. Vega Barrio. I'm pleased to present the results of the efficiency audit as required by House Bill 3 under the 86th legislature that was passed 3 legislatures ago. We'll go through the report. It's been in your board packet, and I had a few slides. Were those? Yes. Were they available also? The slides?
Not the slide deck.
Not the slide deck? It's okay. I can summarize. It's okay. We can go through that as well. So when we started this process, we met with Mr. Guerra and we decided, we gave him the peer districts based on several criteria. So we look at TEA's peer districts that's available on the PEIMS data. So every time you submit PEIMS, TEA is continuously gathering that information, and that's available in the spring into the early summer months. We didn't want to start the process too early before that data was available. We do have to use the most recently available, or the most recent data that's available. So the 2024 audit information, or the data, the financial and student information that was available was for fiscal year 2024. So this is not 2025. Those figures have not been audited, whether it's financial, and have not been finalized on the TEA side as well. So those are the rules under the legislative budget board. Once we determined the peer districts, we gathered the information that's available online as well, and preparing those comparisons. There's 20 items of information that are included in the figures. And then if we could skip a few of the pages, and I'd like to point your attention to page 7 of the PDF, and we can start with the peer districts. And everything I'm going to say is also summarized in the front page, but I think it's important to go through the data that supports the various tables that are presented. So it's page 7 of the there we go. Perfect. Thank you. So here you have the peer districts that were selected and that were determined based on tax rate, similar tax rate, district size, property wealth, and then also based on the SMART score that the Texas Smart Schools Texas Comptroller's Office prepares, and it's also managed by Texas A&M. Anthony ISD, Banquette ISD, Hale Center, Mart ISD, Santa Maria, and Stanford ISD were all selected as the peer districts. From here on out, all of these districts will be compared to Tornillo ISD. In addition to that, the Legislative Budget Board, which promulgates these guidelines, tells us exactly what we have to include, and then also compare it to the state average. So it's not just these 6 school districts, but also all school districts in the state. So that's also very informative. Just to start on this, you'll see that the 23 and 24 fiscal year tax rates were lower from the peer districts that you were compared to. So even starting that, your tax rate is lower than those surrounding you and those that you picked for this particular analysis. If we move to the next page, we can go through your accountability rating. So this has to do with your student accountability by various campuses. And the important thing here is that Tornillo ISD's accountability rating was an 82 or a B, and it was exactly the same for your peer district. So there's no difference there. So that's also great news. If we move to your financial rating, the first rating, or the School Finance Integrity Rating System of Texas, is also critical to this analysis. So it looks at your average over the last 5 years. And so since the 2022-2021 school years, you've earned a B or an A and have never deviated from that. Here lately, the 24-25 rating, the first rating was issued in early August, and you earned an A or superior. So all of those are saying that you're meeting the metrics set by TEA on the financial accountability, from a financial accountability standpoint. When we look at your student characteristics, we look at those that are economically disadvantaged, your English learners, special education, bilingual ESL education, and career and technical that's described in the Texas Education Code, both in Chapter 29 and 48. And so the district, as of 2024, had 762 students enrolled. Your peer district's average enrollment was 648. And we all know we can't just look at the raw data, we have to look at it in relation to the respective demographic. So if we look at the next page, on page 11, on figure 5, so we have if we could go back up one, there we go, thank you. If you look at the total student number, the 762, of that, 706 is made up of economically disadvantaged students. So a very high percentage, 92%, 92.7% of your students are economically disadvantaged, compared to your peer districts of 76.1%, and then an even lower percentage for the state average. The same is true for the various other demographics. And so what that just means is that it does require additional state funding, additional tax dollars to educate these different demographics as we see throughout the state. And overall, we're looking at 3.4 million students that are educated throughout the state of Texas. So this is telling as well on where your money is going. If you go on to page 12, we can look at your attendance rate that was captured in the 23-24 fiscal year. And what you'll find here, which is right on track on what you were presenting here earlier at your board meeting, was that your attendance is very favorable compared to those districts and to not just your peer districts, but also statewide. So the state average attendance rate is 93.3%, but your total is 94.9%. So that is also a positive result. When we look at your 5-year enrollment, you really don't have control over that, right? You do try to influence and promote 100% attendance because we know that affects your state funding. From 2020 up to 2024, your enrollment has been dropping, which of course that correlates with your state funding because your average daily attendance is decreasing, and that's the way the state funds you based on your enrollment and your average daily attendance. So you can do all of that, except if the enrollment is decreasing, it does affect the state aid numbers. It's projected that you'll decrease another 4.13% in your enrollment. So of course, this is part of the reason that you are presenting to the voters a tax rate election. If we go to page 14 for figure 8, we look at the district revenue. And just for your information, the slides too that Mr. Guerra can also present, it's summarized if you want those as well, but it shows these graphics as well. It's the same information, just that way you don't have to read through everything. But the report itself gives more light to what the numbers mean for those interested. The total revenue for fiscal year 2024 was $20.3 million. These are in thousands, compared to your peer districts of $18 million. The state average was $13 million as well. So again, you'll look at your local tax revenue falls short of your peer districts as well as your state average. It's very low, $833 compared to the peer district of $2,812 per student. And that number is actually per student, not in millions. I misspoke there. So you'll see that your local tax revenue is lower than, as we always know too, the lower your tax collections are, there's always an inverse relationship with your state aid. And so that's why you see your state aid is higher, because your local tax revenue is lower in the grand scheme of things. So TEA's state funding formula plays a part in this. You'll also notice that your federal funding is almost double of what your peer districts are. That's also a factor of your economically disadvantaged figures, right? Title I is based on those figures. It is funded based on census data, and so those economically disadvantaged figures do play into your Title I federal funding, as well as your child nutrition program, which is based on free and reduced meals. If we go to the next page and we look at the district expenditures compared to the peer districts, you see that you spend more than your peer districts and the state. However, if you recall what was on the previous slide, your revenue doesn't even cover the cost. Okay, and so that's again another reason for the voter-approved tax rate election that is being presented. If we look at the mix of how you spend your funds, I always like to take instructional resources and media, curriculum, and staff development. The sum of those are still higher than your peer districts and the state, meaning that you're focusing on those instruction and instruction-related expenditures where it's most important. So that's also telling. You'll look at your general administration. I like to always point that out. While you're higher than the state at 4.9% versus the 3.3%, you're much lower than your peer districts, which are at 7%. And as you know, TEA will also look at that administrative ratio. You're still well below that, but you're still performing better than your peer districts when we look at that general admin percentage. The next slide, it tells us what is the percentage of payroll for when we look at all your funds, not just your general fund, but also at your federal funds. You spend 71% of those funds on payroll, whereas your peer district spends 73.7% and the state spends 77.8%. When you look at the average teacher salary, it's $63,000 versus that of the peer district at $55,000 and the state average at $62,000. It's important to note that Tornillo, along with only one other peer district, Mart ISD, actually participate in the teacher incentive allotment. So that contributes to that. When we also look at the average administrative salary, it's higher, but your average years of experience is 10 years versus that of your peer districts, which is only 6. So that'll contribute to the higher administrative salaries because you have more experienced individuals. And the way the scales work, it's natural that you would have that higher average administrative salary. And then as far as the superintendent salary, it's it's $2,000 difference between your average peer district and the state average, as it is much less and lower. And so the state average, it takes all superintendents, no matter the size, whether it has that district has 10 students or all the way to Houston ISD that has close to 200,000 students. So it takes that average, and so you're below the state average and right in line with your peer districts. Now the next few pages are a little bit involved. And I think the best one to present here for us, we can go to page 18. So part of what the TEA first rating does, it looks at not just your cash on hand compared to your expenditures, but there's another metric that is looked at by the Texas Education Agency and your external auditors. We're not your external auditors, but you do have an external audit firm that also pays attention to this. So it's always important to look at your general fund balance, that which is assigned and unassigned. So TEA, when they calculate that particular metric for the first rating, they take the assigned and unassigned and then compare it to the annual expenditures. The goal for any district, actually any governmental entity, is to have 3 months of average fund balance compared to its expenditures. And then if we look at that compared to the goal, so the second, is this the, if you could look at page 18, please. That one, please, if we could flip it, that's more. Could you rotate it, is that possible? It's portrait at the moment, okay, thank you. Perfect, thank you. So 25% would be the 3-month goal related to your expenditures, and you exceed that. So you're at 46. If you look at the 2024 fiscal year, you're at 46.1%, and so you exceed the 3-month average. If we look at your peer districts, they're doing something similar. So again, it's not, you're required to do that, right? You're required to have that. So it's not that you have too much money, but in order to be a healthy district, you must have at least 3 months or more, because you don't know what every legislative session is going to bring. You don't know what, God forbid, disaster will come. I'm coming from the Houston area. We have hurricanes. We don't know what's going to happen. So you always need that rainy day fund. And that fund balance is not for ongoing expenditures. It can be used for one-time expenditures to make sure that it's sustainable. So on this front, you're meeting the requirements, the fund balance requirements that are given to you by the Texas Education Agency, as well as the Government Finance Officers Association. The rest of the slides continue to make that point. It also looks at other districts that may also commit fund balance. So it's okay to set aside fund balance that the board commits or sets aside, but what TEA is really interested in, what is available for appropriations and how swiftly can you appropriate those funds for the needs of the district. And so you're meeting those goals. The rest of the reports, or the tables, excuse me, if we go to page 20, the district staffing levels, I think this is quite important as well. And if we could zoom in on that bottom portion of that table, yes, perfect. What I'd like to focus on is the students per total staff and then the students per teaching staff. You'll see that the district, Tornillo ISD, has 12.4 students for every one teacher versus the peer districts at 11.5. This means that you're running more efficiently than your peer districts for that. And then as far as the state is concerned, and again, looking at all districts across the state, you're a little bit lower than the state, but again, with the peer districts, you're running efficiently. If you look at your auxiliary staff, the amount of staff that is in that category is at 36.9%, which drives some of the other percentages lower, and it's also based on the size of your district, right? When we compare it to the state average based on the mix of your personnel and the needs of the district. But what I always like to look at is the students per total staff, and then even more important, how many students are in the classroom to gauge efficiency with your dollars. So all of that I say because when we looked at the expenditures, you're spending more than your peer districts, but you're earning less revenue, but you're being efficient in the classroom. So it's all pointing to positive use of the district's funds. The teacher turnover rate, your turnover rate is lower than the peer district's turnover rate and a little bit higher than the state turnover rate. The rest is additional assurances or information that we obtained. There were yes and no questions, and it's looking at internal controls. This you're audited by, again, that CPA firm that's looking at that, but we're also looking at campus improvement plans. We're looking at performance evaluations. Do you have a process? Is the district operating correctly? And the answer was yes, and those are at the back of the report for further reading. But what I went over today, I think, are the highlights, and then the additional PDF that can be provided to you even summarizes it better with those highlights that we discussed here at length. Any questions for me?
Anyone have any questions?
No.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I do want us to go back to, I don't know if you have further in your presentation before I ask a question,
Okay.
or do
Go
you
ahead,
have?
add it. Yeah, you can.
Well, let me ask first. Do you have further in your, do you have more to present?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Then I do want to go back to a couple of the pages that we skipped for the sake of our community and public who are present and I'm sure watching. And I believe there was a point made in here. See if I can find the page when I read it. To page 2. just being able to explain, I don't know if Mr. Guerra was going to explain this, but the paragraph above that table in section 2, can you summarize that for us?
Sure. So what this does is looking at the effects of the legislature compressing, and Mr. Good, if you want to come up, you can do that, because I know you've analyzed that, so.
Yes. The compression, is that about the FCR, right? The maximum compression rate? Yes. What's happening with the maximum compression rate, that the state every year gives us a list of the compression rate that we should adopt. Plus, we're subject to local compression rates. So on the local side, since our property values have gone up, as we've seen, we're more compressed further. So that's why our tax rate has been decreasing throughout the years.
And then also, I think it's important, I think it's the second to the last sentence there, that even though the tax rate would be increasing, the district has calculated that the increase to the tax, the homeowner, would be $0 with that. And so that's important, even looking at the values increasing, it still doesn't have an impact, and it would generate $237,000. The way the state aid formula works, it generates additional state aid revenue if you're able to assess these additional pennies, but not an impact to the homeowners.
The homeowners.
For the homeowners. Okay. Thank you. Anybody have any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I didn't want to press send and press send.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
It is on our agenda as a public hearing. I do know we have community members available. If anybody has any question or would like any other additional clarification. Increase for? Well, that's what she just said, is it's not a tax increase for homeowners. So, Mr. Guerra?
We're proposing a 12-cent increase. However, the average home here in Tornillo ISD is 119,000. The state is proposing that the homestead exemption be 140,000. So with 140,000, that means that you will not pay any taxes to the school district.
That's regardless of age.
If you're 65 and over, there's going to be an additional $60,000 exemption, so it's going to increase it to $200,000. So if your house is valued at $119,000, you will still not pay any taxes.
So there is an increase, but the majority of this money is coming from the state then as opposed to the community. So. Okay. Any other?
And that's just a school tax. I know people say, well, I'm still getting billed for this and that, but that's the college and the water and the hospital.
The El Paso
It's all
County,
separate.
the UMC, community college, those we don't affect those. The only one that's affected is the school districts.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you coming in. Thank you.
Thank you.
All the way from Houston. Next item on the agenda is our information reports and presentations, financial reports. Mr. Guerra.
Okay. Before you are the financial reports as of August 2025. As proposed, we were going to end up in deficit of 500,000 as we adopted on the deficit budget. Right now, we're standing at 498,000 that we're in deficit. There's still more to go because We still need the near final revenue estimates that come out in late October. So that's how much I project right now, to be at 498,000 deficit. As I told you last board meeting, that you will see the bank balances come down, and they did, because in the month of August, we don't receive any state revenue. We're projected to end up at 109 days in fund balance. That's what we're gonna be at the end of this fiscal year. So we're already almost hitting the 90-day threshold.
Okay.
Any questions?
No.
No, sir.
Thank you. Just to go back, it will also, everything she went over will be posted on the website coming up. So if you're able to look through it more. Okay.
Yes. And I forgot to say, we were back and forth on the PowerPoint. It was in a draft form, and I had it to send it to Rachel, and it was just there in draft, and then I pressed send. Sorry.
Okay.
I just did it right now.
It was easy enough to follow the PDF, so thank you. Next item on the agenda is our technology and safety updates. Mr. Garcia?
Good evening, President Bullard, members of the board, Ms. Rosie Vega Barrio. Every year during our staff development week, we actually meet and try to brainstorm all the different projects and set up some goals for ourselves for as far as technology and safety. And not necessarily that we always complete these goals, but that's the goal. And so we did, for this year, we did kind of challenge ourselves. We do have a lot of projects that we want to tackle at the end of the school year. And today I'm going to have Chris and Hugo come help me with some of the projects. So I've also asked him to not necessarily go by the list that you guys were provided, because we do use a lot of technical terms and abbreviations. So I can just kind of explain briefly some of those.
So good afternoon. I'll be presenting on the cybersecurity automate and remediation. Basically, what this entails is us doing more of the back work and legwork on the backside, checking if computers are up to date with antivirus, if there's passwords that have been expired, if there's passwords that aren't meeting the complexity. There's ways that I'm doing remediation where the system does it for us, and it does it every 30 days. So if it falls in within 30 days, we catch it and we actually update that device so we have everything that's current up to date. For the second component, for the Convert AD security groups, think of that as hierarchy access, basically where I come in, where before I used to have access to everything. Well, we removed ourselves from that list, and we only have our IT account that has access to certain things to install applications. So when we use our day-to-day computers, we don't have admin rights, and we're not at risk when we click on an email and we get a malware or something where it can spread throughout the network. So basically, we're limiting what we have access to ourselves and then to our groups that we have for our vendors and contracted services. For review and stabilizing service agreements, our SLAs. So this year, Carlos and I had talked about it, and it's been something that with Power School, what happened with Power School when they had a service level agreement, basically saying, this is what's gonna happen if there's a breach within our system, and this is how we're gonna handle it. So Power School has their own service levels agreements, so we're actually getting all those at the beginning of the year. And we're looking at those to see if we're covered, and if we have a data breach, then that company will come in and take care of that component for us. But if there's some vendors that don't have an SLA, we would have to come back and sit down with the lawyer and try to draft something up that we have a standardized SLA agreement so we can hold them accountable for any breaches that we have within the district. Disable local AD group policies, convert that to the cloud. So we've been talking about how we purchased Intune, and we're able to manage all these laptops and devices where we don't have to worry about touching them. It's a zero-touch deployment. So when we go to summer, we have the kids take the devices home, they can actually use the devices. We don't have to pick them up. We push out all the updates and policies to these devices. So that's what that MDM solution covers for that. And again, there's percentage of what we're completed at September, and we plan to have everything by 100% by June this coming school year. And then for network open SSID. That was something that I've been working on because in the past, we have open Wi-Fi and we're able to connect to Wi-Fis and just have unstable connections where these other devices want to connect to our network. So what I did is basically revamp the whole Wi-Fi scheme for the district. Nothing's available for people to connect to. So in the back end, we configured everything in all our devices where they connect to different access points. So you won't see, if you come in with your cell phone, you won't see the Tornillo guest, you won't see other SSIDs that we're broadcasting. That's also a cybersecurity risk form that we actually just checked off on our thing, so we're covered on that component. If you go to other districts, I know they have guest accounts, ours are hidden. So if you wanna access it, you can access it. It's there for you guys to access, it's free, but it's hidden just so we don't have that much traffic on our network and it doesn't slow us down, especially during testing days. Hybrid and Intune is the same thing that I talked about the MDM, the zero-touch devices, and that's something that we're just trying to finalize. We're trying to remove everything physically here at the district where we just have everything for that zero-touch and we don't have to like bring those devices in, do updates, everything's done on the cloud, so we don't have to really be there touching the device anymore. And then I'll let Hugo take over for the systems.
Good evening. I'm going to give you an update on the systems part. I'm working on the Primero H CNS management system. This is at 75% complete. Primero H is our new nutrition management software. It is used for menu planning, production records, and inventory. We also have two new POS installed at the junior high cafeteria and at the high school one for to improve efficiency. The second one, it's at 75%, no, it's at 5%, I barely started on the one. It's the counselor time analysis and calendar integration with YISD. This system helps our counselors track their time and ensures compliance with the TEA 80% rule. It requires counselors to spend at least 80% of their work on guidance, intervention, and individual planning. The next one is Vector Solutions. This is at 75%. This is the new platform that is replacing EduHero. And you guys are going to be doing this soon. It offers more courses, and it's both in English and Spanish. It also has a second component. It's called the training tracking management, and we are currently using it for compliance trainings for the technology, safety, CNS, and wellness departments. The fourth one is the document log system at 75% as well. And we're trying to go 100% paperless in the future. So with this, we can add important documents directly to PowerSchool, including certificates, discipline referrals, immunization records, proof of residency, report cards, and transcripts. And just to complete, we have, I don't know if you guys noticed, we have a new website. As the implementation is underway, we changed website providers from Finalsite to Aptegi. Thank you, Rachel, for helping me on that. We're working together. We also have an app that is ready for students and staff members and community members, and it's available on the iOS platform and Android devices. You don't have to sign in. You don't need to create an account to access the campus news, and this platform will make much easier access for the students, parents, and staff to access important information. And that's it.
Thank you.
Okay. Then as far as PEMS, I think Hugo touched up on that, is we're trying to digitize all that, all the accumulated folder student records. There's a lot of them that's either 5-year retention records or permanent records. So that's going to be a long-term project. I think some of our neighboring school districts probably taken 10 years to complete that. I don't foresee us taking that long, but we do want to start slowly and start looking at each document and slowly migrating over all that to digital. Because right now we get audited and be asked for some student records or attendance records for 2-3 years ago or 5 years ago. we literally have to go and dive into those boxes that are stored at, at the campuses. And so, we're just trying to make it a little more efficient there in that area. Then I know that our PIMS coordinator, she's also wants to organize the registration process for the pre-K through 8 and also improve the collaboration between all the departments, because PIMS always coming up with all these new mandates. There's some new codings that were introduced for this school year, and so we just got to work better with our departments and campuses. As far as safety, we do want to utilize our emergency app 100%, and I think we've already met that. TEA also created their own Sentinel portal, and we're already logging everything there, from weekly door sweeps to emergency drills, our AED logs, our maintenance logs, pretty much everything that TEA Sentinel already has there. We just kind of jumped in it and just started utilizing the system to start logging everything, so that whenever we do get audited, all the information's already there. They're not really asking for any hard copies or anything at the campus level. So everything will be on the system. The safety committee restructuring, we're trying to find ways to, get the more involvement as far as all the topics that needs to be discussed. I want to bring in other fire department and law enforcement that have actually presented at other conferences where they come in and provide part of those trainings. So I'll be inviting some people outside of that district to come help us with that. And then finally, we are having to practice with the drills. We do have our safety officers ask a random staff member initiate an emergency drill, just so that they can get used to practicing, with the app. And finally, the intrusion alarm, that's the upgrade that we started a few weeks ago, and they're about 75% now. And so we should be ready to go live, in a week or two from now. Are there any questions?
Just kind of curious, in the 24-25 department goals where you have the PIMS digitized student records, and it was at 15%,
Right.
but the wording for 25-26 is PIMS new students digitize, and it's at only at 25. Is that wording correct? You're only doing new students and we're only at 25% right now? Or are we digitizing all student records and only at 25% right now?
Okay, so it's a two-phase project. So one of them, our pre-K through 8 campus clerks already started digitizing some of it, and they were uploading those files in Microsoft Teams. During that time, we were in the process of implementing the document lock document system, which we're still maybe about 75% complete. We're still not 100%. So that's the project that they started, and they started uploading Microsoft Teams, but then we kind of paused that because eventually we're going to migrate all of that information over to the new system that was going to be integrated with PowerSchool. So yeah, it's a two-step process, but it's pretty much the same thing.
Okay, so it's not just new students we're doing. We are working to get all of them done, because we do know that, accidents happen, and we don't want to lose any of that information for previous students. So.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, ma'am. I'm just
Thank you.
curious.
Go ahead.
We have some numbers in black and some in green. Can you explain that to me?
You can ignore that. Normally, I put green whenever it's already completed. So sometimes I would just copy and paste and forget to change the
Oh,
color.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. So what's the difference? Okay, no questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is consider approval of the Coyote Park sublease agreement.
We're gonna, after speaking with the county and speaking with the UT Lions, we're gonna have to postpone this one. There's some language in there that is still not quite right. We're gonna have a meeting with with the county, I believe tomorrow. And then on October 15, I have another meeting with UT Land Systems.
And including our lawyers.
Yeah, our
I
lawyers,
hope.
yeah, the lawyers are the ones that initiated this, and
Okay.
they added more items, and they're still questioning those items.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to pull this item.
I'll move to postpone 9A on the consideration of approval of the Coyote Park sublease agreement.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to postpone item 9A, considering approval of the Coyote Park sublease agreement. Any questions or discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Thank you. Next item is our consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda shall be acted upon by one vote without separate discussion, unless a board member requests that an item be withdrawn for individual consideration. Is there any item to be withdrawn?
No.
Okay.
I'll move to approve all items on the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda with all items. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. It didn't come up. Did it need to, Rachel?
Me.
Ms. Estrada. Me. All right. The board will enter into a closed session to discuss the following items under sections 551.076 and 551.089 of the Texas Government Code. The board will reconvene into open session to take any necessary action. It is 6:52. The board has ended its closed session at 7:38 p.m. No action was taken in closed session. We will go on with our agenda. Discussion and possible action regarding the investigation findings related to MC, a teacher at the pre-K 8.
President Bullard, Board of Trustees, at this time, I ask that we approve the possible action as discussed and closed.
I so move.
Make the motion.
You don't have to state what it is, it's following what was just said.
Okay, I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve administrative action as discussed and closed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain.
I will abstain.
One abstain. Two abstain. Okay. Next meeting, tentative date is October 29th, 2025.
Oh my goodness, October.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned at 7:40.